Hello, everyone. Like Radhika said, my name is Haaziq Kazi. So right now I am 17 years old. I'm from Pune, India, but now I study in America, in Connecticut, which is near New York. Um, so, and a little bit about me. So I'm the co-founder of the Ervis Foundation, where we are dedicated to bringing a cultural change in the youth in the way they interact with plastic, and also how they view the oceans and the marine ecosystems, and trying to educate them about our impact towards marine ecosystems, and also incubate their own ideas and solutions for the same. Um, so my journey began when I was in grade 4. I designed a ship called Ervis. It's a like it's a ship that essentially goes into the oceans and then sucks all of the plastic and all other kinds of waste, and stores it in the chamber. So it's essentially that um, a prototype of a device to rid the oceans of plastic. So this idea came when I was watching a few documentaries, and then I saw how plastic was impacting the earth, and especially the marine ecosystems, right? How fishes actually eat the plastic, and then and it really disrupts the marine ecosystem. It disrupts the food chain. It disrupts natural processes, like even like in coral reefs. It causes deaths of coral reefs, and just lots of impact, and it's all because of us, right? It's and so I wanted to really try to reverse this problem, not entirely fix it because that's a huge thing, but at least do my bit to reverse this and to make this earth a better place for my generation, since we're going to inherit this planet, and also the future generations. So that's a bit about me.
That's truly inspiring, Haaziq. Can you walk us through the moment or the experiences that triggered your desire to take action and create Ervis?
Yes. So I did mention this a little bit. I was watching a documentaries about plastic, and also this idea came about, like also looking at the place around us, like in India, right? You know how you have lots of like garbage plastic just littered across everywhere, right? In lakes and on streets. Yeah, but the funny thing is, not many of us really think too much about it. We like to think that it's just there, right? Someone else will pick it up. वो यहाँ पे है और हम can't do anything, no? And I like, and even this was a bit of a reality for me. But then I watched these documentaries, and in my school we learned about how this plastic actually affects marine ecosystem, how it affects life. Fishes, they eat the plastic, and then when they eat the plastic, it fills up their stomach, right? And because it fills up the stomach because they can't digest the plastic, right? So essentially what happens is they don't have any more nutrients. So they feel full, but they aren't. And so they die of starvation. And that is just very horrifying. Just imagine that, right? That feeling of being full, but you can't eat anything, and you slowly die of starvation, and you can't do anything about this. And because of that, around 1 million birds and 100,000 marine creatures die every year because of consumption of plastic, right? So it was this realization that I had through like learning about the world around me, right? Through education, right, through watching documentaries in my case, but learning about this just sparked my idea to try to solve this. And in our school, we had this thing called TED Ed Club. It was this initiative by TED, TED Ed. And then so what they do is they launch clubs in lots of schools around the world. So one teacher had brought it to our school, and that was a place where you could work on a solution, because TED is all about ideas, so here this was a place where we can come up with an idea and try to work on it with resources from our teachers, parents, students, and even some resources from the TED Ed list. No, and yeah, and so this was the perfect opportunity for me to work on the idea of like trying to solve plastic pollution, right? So uh, I came up with Ervis the ship. Yeah.
So basically, the school played a major role in doing all this, and also like so many people watch documentaries every day, but there are so less people like you who actually turn their concern into action. That's really motivating, Haziq. Moving on to the next question, can you take us on a journey through the process of transforming your idea into a physical prototype, particularly at such a young age?
Yeah. So when I started this, like again, I from conceptual, I didn't start off by building a huge ship. No, I still had to create like a physical, not even like working prototype. When I first built it to present it at my TED Ed club, I made it out of like those those inflatable tubes that you
Yeah.
have when you're a child and you can't swim. um, huh. So yeah, I made it out of that. Um, uh, and then I also used pot lid for like the top of it, and then I drew on so all that. I used cardboard, so like that was just like how I wanted it to look, right? And then I had like this, I designed like a flow chart of how this would work. But yeah, that's one place that you should start. Like you should start small, and when you're creating a sort of product, not I mean I said product, but like any kind of idea, it's always like a cycle, an iterative process. So you start, and I think starting is very difficult, especially, right? But as when you start, it actually like you once you start, you kind of have that like momentum going, so that like you start small. You don't start with the whole thing, right? It seems very challenging, but if you start small, then it continuously keeps going. So you start on one piece, and then you do another, and you do another, and then you keep iterating on other parts. So unfortunately, I still like Ervis, like it's still in a bit of the prototyping stage because of this iterative process, and also it takes a lot of money to create a huge ship, right? But that doesn't mean that I should stop working on this idea, right? So now what I'm working on in my school is this smaller, more research-based vehicle, which goes underwater. It's called a remotely operated vehicle, right? So this is much more research-based because we still need to understand more of the problem in our marine ecosystems, right? And this is a smaller version, and this is like a small. It's not a huge ship. It's like at least I can't see my hands, but it's like holdable at least, and can still go in the water. It can record video, can move objects, etc. So that's what I'm working on. So like if you have this kind of very moonshot idea, like you have to start small and don't let like these hurdles really stop you. You need to push for, even like with funding, you need to push for your idea, and then because there are always going to be people who will like we're fortunate to live in a world where people are going to believe in what you do. So as long as you have belief in yourself, and then you can really bring your idea to life.
Yeah, definitely. It's really how inspiring and impressive how we have like taken little steps and embraced the learning process throughout. Haziq, your project's concept is truly fascinating for all of us. Could you dive a bit deeper into how Ervis actually works and the core principle that drives its mission?
Yes. So unfortunately, right now I don't have pictures. Otherwise, I would try to show. But so essentially, when I first came up with the idea, it was like a circular model, right? And then it had these kind of saucers which are a little different from it. And these saucers, essentially, they create like a whirlpool, like in a sink. And then this sink creates the whirlpool, and then it pulls all the water and then plastic and stuff like that inside. It filters off, and then this gets sent. It filters out the water, and marine life, and then it sends the waste inside your ship. And that's also like how currently it works. So we are I'm also experimenting with other kinds of ideas with using using things like nets or and other ways instead of sources to use the centripetal force to suck in the water. But yeah, so that's just like a kind of, it's essentially like a giant wash basin in the ocean. So that's the simplest I can that's the simplest I can give. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a really innovative approach, I must say. Haaziq, the environmental and societal impact of your creation is truly profound, as we all know. Can you share with us how Ervis aligns with the broader sustainability goals and contributes to a better world?
So this part is more from the foundation side. So when I started Ervis, and I gave my first TED talk, one goal I had with Ervis is that it's not just like the thing to clean the oceans, because that's going to come soon, but it's also like this thing like hope and inspiration. That's also another thing that it also stands for, to make other youth to pick up, find the motivation, and to pursue their own idea, and also to pursue others to stop using not maybe stop using plastic entirely, because that's it's very ingrained in our lifestyle, but at least try to reduce it. Like not use straws, not use disposable plastic waste, not using plastic bags, but using other alternatives like cloth bags, or carrying your own water bottle. Yeah, and so this is just like and then this idea of the ship, it transformed into the Ervis Foundation, and youth like me who also we're not fortunate to have like the same resources, because if it wasn't for the TED club in my school, right, I wouldn't have the platform to work on this idea, to have that constant push to keep on going forward. I think that's very important. So I think that's what the Ervis Foundation stands for, to give students education about the problems, and also give them push, right? And so there is where we do lots of initiatives and a lot of like these sustainable goals. So we are well aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, especially number 14, which is life underwater, and also number 12, which is sustain. I don't remember the exact name, but it's about sustainable waste practices. So things such as understanding of marine ecosystems, using less plastic. And also we initially when we created the foundation, it was more about like plastic, and even the Ervis, the ship, was even more about plastic. But I've realized that there are a lot more problems. So there's algae invasions which are affecting places like Mexico, because what happens is when deforestation, for example, can produce lots of nitrogen runoff in rivers, which goes into the broader ocean, and that nitrogen is basically like food for algae, and it creates lots of algae, and then that gets deposited in the in other places, in coastal regions like the Caribbean region. So this right. So there's a lot of problems which are affecting the marine ecosystems, and also the broader and also it comes back to us essentially, right, affecting human populations as well, not just animals and plants and the rest of the world, right? Because we live on this earth, we live on this planet, right? And so we are more focused now. The Ervis Foundation is more focused on broader marine ecosystem rather than just plastic, right? Understanding our marine ecosystems, even understanding how these interconnected webs actually affect marine ecosystem, from climate change to things like I mentioned, deforestation or excess fertilizer runoff can also cause nitrogen blooms in the ocean, which cause algae blooms. So, and just things like that, right? So that's mainly our broad focus, using education, and then education to understand the different links that can affect the marine ecosystem, and providing students that push, like an incubation lab, essentially, which is what the Ervis ship is part of, an incubation lab, like a maker space, for students to come up with their own ideas from. And these initiatives can range from like cleanup drives to their own education initiatives to their own like technological innovation ideas, and so on. So those are some of our like sustainable goals and like how we aim to achieve this.
Yes. Your dedication to the environment is truly inspiring, Haaziq. Haaziq, you've achieved so much already, from presenting a TEDx event to garnering media attention. How do you handle the spotlight and expectations that come with being a young innovator?
Huh. This is like I still try to be like a normal person. Yeah, I mean, like I try not to like essentially I try to live how I normally would, right? Try to go to school not every day, but at least Monday to Friday. Um, then work on do study for exams, go to university, and then I still have those dreams and aspirations, right? Like personally, I want to study environmentalism and also computer science in university. Um, but and then like and I think it's also like important not to get too much of the attention to you, right? Not get both stressed out and also too like I think just staying essentially humble and devoted to your cause, because essentially what it is, it's not about the person, right? It's not about me, but it's about the idea, which is Ervis, right? Again, it's that push for education, and then also not just education but incubation as well, right? Teaching them is one thing, but also like pushing them to come up with their own ideas is also important, right? So that's what I try to remind myself. It's like more, and I also try to emphasize this, it's more about the idea, right? It's more about how we can stop, essentially, how anyone, essentially, from me, you, anyone, everyone watching this, can use less plastic and advocate for our marine ecosystems, and small things to bigger things, right? You don't necessarily have to create a whole foundation, right? Just don't use plastic straws. Like that's one less straw that ends up in the ocean, right? And that makes a huge difference. So, yeah.
It's so nice to know you as a person also. As a student, you might be facing many challenges like balancing school, innovation, and other activities. So, how do you balance your innovation endeavors with your regular school life and other activities?
So right now, yeah, right now I'm again, like I said, I was working more on like in the like I still try to balance my passions with actually studying, right? Because now grade 12, I mean, I'm going to grade 12 and I need to start working on the entering into and applying. Here in the US, they have very different systems. They don't have much emphasis on entrance exams, but more on like essays and stuff. So I'm still working on that. But then I'm also working on other side projects, like I mentioned, the research underwater vehicle, the remote ROV they call it, right? And that's a project that I'm working in my school, and I'm also still studying for all my classes. So I think it's balance, not just and also sometimes I'm not very good at balancing, and it's still something that I need, that I still have to work on. But it's all right as long as you try your hardest to try to balance these, and don't let one or the other go completely out of don't give too much emphasis, is what I'm saying, right? Try to keep a balanced lifestyle, right? Balance, I think, is one of the most important things to master in your life, right? And balancing, being also, another thing is to be patient. Don't procrastinate on lots of things like your studies, but also don't rush into doing stuff which could basically not doing things which are not really priority, right? So it's also that balancing also comes with that element of strategy, right? What is most important for now and what I can actually do later. So it's all just like it's a juggling act, right? But it's as long as you're doing what you love, and then you try to strive for like that that again, I'm saying balance a lot, but but as you would be fine. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, truly said. Your words are really inspiring and motivating for all of us. Haaziq, your insights into the challenges we face are eye opening. Could you share with us some of the specific challenges you have encountered in your journey to clean up the ocean solution?
So I think I covered this, but first, for like Ervis the ship, the main challenge is funding, because it takes a lot of money to create something like that. But again, it doesn't. I've tried not to let it deter me. I'm trying to focus my outlets in other places, in places where I can actually, like work upon, and I think I've gained like a lot. Like I've been fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of, in like a lot of, how do you say, a lot of wise people who have really shown me, like working, and have given me experience about working in this field of sustainability, right? And the thing I've learned is that there's a lot of things that we don't really know about the oceans, or even like a lot of sustainability crises that we are facing, from climate to pollution, right? Right, it's all a lot of it is connected, and plastic isn't just the only problem in the oceans, right? As I was talking, like the algae blooms of sargassum, it's called, which is right now what is faced in the Caribbean. But and so I was doing like a lot more research on that. So that's what essentially the research vehicle is for, to understand our marine ecosystem, right? And I think for that, like the main challenge is, I guess the main challenge for that is like trying to how do you say, I guess it's like the scope of what I really wanted to do, right? So because it's a smaller prototype, it doesn't take as much resources, it just takes time and effort from my side, right? But it's also like how much like effort, or not necessarily effort, but how much I wanted to do, right? From either I can survey local ecosystems or take it to a larger scale. And then for things like the Ervis Foundation, I think our biggest challenge is things like it's the biggest challenge is, I think, is like our lifestyle, because we're so ingrained to using things like plastic on a day-to-day basis. Even I am not immune, because it's really difficult to go without plastic. Everything from things like our clothes to basic necessities in life, like appliances and stuff like that, they're all made of plastic. And plastic is just one example. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of things that can contribute to major, not even major, but like some kind of sustainability imbalance in the earth. But yeah, and like, because our lifestyle, we don't really want to move, because the thing is, people really prefer convenience over most other things else, right? Like plastic was used because it's very cheap, easy to use, very easy to manufacture, and easy to distribute, malleable, can be formed into many different forms, right? So that's I think the main problem, and that's why we are really targeting our audience is more of the younger generation, who I think are like who are more energetic, and also who are going to receive this earth, right? And then right, so, and since we're going to get this earth, we want to make it, we want to have a better place to live in, not just for us but also for future generations, right?
Yes.
So yeah, but it's still like, it's still difficult to get out of these societal norms, or that really surround us, right? And it's also can be like really mentally, or sometimes it can be taxing to keep, trying to avoid all of this and going carbon free or plastic free. um, but yeah, as long as it's that dedication, and sometimes it's difficult to persuade every single person to have that same dedication, right? um but um but yeah, so it is a bit of a it's a bit of a challenge, but as long as we keep on pushing for our ideas and our cause, I think that it's able to um uh, you know like, yeah, like using like stuff like biodegradable products, or like using alternatives, trying to make a difference. It really goes a bit long way.
Yes, yes, definitely. Your commitment to addressing these challenges is truly commendable, Haaziq. Since your journey showcases that age isn't a barrier to make a meaningful impact, how would you encourage other young minds who may have innovative ideas but are hesitant to step forward?
Yeah, so I think the main thing to do, sorry, not to do, but the main thing in order to solve any problem, to come up with an idea, is to just start doing it. Don't wait for later and say tomorrow, but try doing it now. But maybe not like now, but work on it, right? Don't leave it for later, right? Don't let other things, try not to let get other things get in your way, right? Like, and everyone's had this dream, not just in sustainability but any idea, like writing a book, to starting, to helping others, creating your own technology startup, whatever it is, right? A lot of us just say tomorrow I'll do it, but um, but it's important to do it now, because like, tomorrow you will say tomorrow, and then day after tomorrow you will say tomorrow again, and you'll never end up actually doing it. So it's important to start, and it's like, and once you start, and sometimes like especially when you start, you have that huge rush of motivation to keep on going, and especially when you start seeing progress, it's really motivating. And but yeah, just do it, like so yeah, so essentially don't wait for tomorrow to come, right? Tomorrow will come and go just as easily as now is coming and going. So essentially, yeah, take the opportunity of now, and do and pursue that idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that really shows how your story that no dream is too big and no one is ever too young to make a positive impact. Before we wrap up this insightful chat, could you tell us about your aspirations for the future and what is your vision for the future of Ervis?
Yes. So again, I have lots of different aspirations, right? I like, while Ervis is always a part of me, I still have my own aspirations in terms of like academic aspirations, by studying environmental and computer science, right? So they're just trying to balance my different the different passions and my different interests and hobbies, right? um and for the future of Ervis, I'm more interested in, like, so now what I'm more focusing on, like the research side of things, researching into different environmental problems and how it's focusing, trying and not just on focusing on plastic, but also the broader world around us and how our like anthropogenic impact impacts on especially like marine ecosystems, but also environmental the environment as a whole. And as for the Ervis Foundation, it will always be a part of me, and that's something I really want to, take forward, and take it to a keep working on it, and keep inspiring, youth just like me, and like and being, but like so, working on initiatives which promote both education and incubation, right? Working on different ideas, like the research vehicle, or um, uh, and other and that's, I think that's my main priority in terms of like innovation. But yeah, just keep moving forward and never giving up.
That's a beautiful vision, Haaziq. Thank you for sharing your story and your commitment to making such a positive change. It was truly a delightful experience to have you join as a young change maker at the ChangeMaker Summit. Your journey is a huge inspiration for all of us here. To our viewers, remember that every idea, no matter how young the mind behind it, can have a lasting impact, and the example stands right in front of us. We are open to questions now. You can please drop your question in the chat box. And anything lastly you want to say to everybody, Haaziq?
Yeah, and I think I did cover it in that question, but I think it's every but try not to let these like hindrances like age, or things like time, really affect you. Try to seize the current moment and do it. Or don't wait for tomorrow to come to work on this idea, to work on your idea. And remember that no idea is truly very small or very big, right? You don't have, in order to make any difference to anything, not just in with respect to marine pollution, but in the broader concept of sustainability as a whole, like even using less straws, or not using your car to work, using bicycles and things like that. That still goes a huge way in making a difference, right? And yeah, so don't get essentially be motivated to try bringing a difference in your daily life, because change essentially starts small. Even from any idea, it starts small and then slowly becomes bigger, right? Yeah, so it starts with your own mindset, and then your ideas, your passions, especially like things like that, can actually really spread to other people, right? As long as you have this constant practice and your vision. So yeah, I think those are the two main things, and I guess they're very connected. So yeah, those are the thing that I really wanted to leave you all with.
Thank you so much for joining us, Haaziq. It was a pleasure to host you.
Yeah, thank you so
Like,
much for inviting
yeah.
me. So, yeah.